Okay.
Cool.
So if you don't want to be on the screen, then you can stop video, I guess, right? Or
So
no, don't do that.
yes, you can,
Yes.
It gives you a little pop-up that
Take your-
says,
yeah.
Oh,
yes or
okay.
no.
So if you don't want to be recorded, you know what to do because we're posting this afterwards for people to watch.
Yeah, so don't get yourself in trouble.
Yep. And then mute yourself. Don't forget, because it just minimizes noise, especially for the recording, so we can all hear. And then, oh, raise your hand button. Because sometimes when you just raise your hand, we can't all see you if there's too many people on here. So I
Because
think
it's on my computer, it's under reactions. Some
yeah,
people are under hand.
reactions.
Or
Or you can put it in the chat. I think we should have the chat open and you can put your questions in the chat if you want.
Okay, cool.
So welcome everybody. We're going to be talking today about vitamin D and minerals and how that applies to our everyday health. So I just wanted to talk about one oil and I forgot it upstairs. It's our Stress Away. I love Stress Away. It's my favorite. You have it? You're muted, Tanner. What did you say?
Can I find it? I have oils that are the same color, but no, it's not Stress Away.
Okay.
I'm sure I do have Stress Away, but it's probably in my purse because that travels with me everywhere, right?
Yes. So I take Stress Away with me. It's one of my favorites. I have it in the car. I have it in my bathroom. I have it in a roll-on. I have it in a dropper. But somebody gave me, just as a side note, a really cool recipe for making your own Stress Away in the diffuser. I have yet to try it, but it's 2 drops of cedar wood, 2 drops of lavender, 3 drops of lime, and then as much vanilla as you want. So 2 to 4 drops of vanilla. And that makes Stress Away in the diffuser. So if you don't have Stress Away, but you do have the other oils, you can make it. So I thought that was really cool. And Stress Away is a freebie for June. So if you guys don't know already, as I'm sure most of us have already peaked, because I always peak on the 1st of every month because I get so excited. But one of the other products we're talking about a couple products today that will be free for the month of June. So that's going to be really fun. So tonight we're going to go more in depth with the vitamin D and the minerals and why they're so important and vital to our everyday health and well-being. So vitamin D deficiency is a real issue. It affects everyone on the planet. Symptoms of vitamin D deficiency can include muscle weakness, pain, fatigue, depression, mood changes, and generally feeling unwell. So just 15 minutes of sunlight is supposed to help, but I question if that's really enough. Does everybody else? So for me, I got
ice cream social.
Oh, that's my son. I got my vitamin D levels. I started getting those checked probably when I was about 16. And I've always been on the low side of the scale. And so I've always had to supplement. There was a time in my life, though, that I didn't supplement in my 30s. And that was a couple of years ago. I went and got my blood tested and I was 9. And the scale at the time was 75 to 100. So I was way down at 9, which is dangerously, dangerously low. So I took another brand and I wasn't feeling that much of a difference. And so I got my blood tested again after several months of taking 10,000 international units, which is a lot. And it didn't do much at all. I was still 35 instead of 75. So then I switched over to Young Living. So I actually feel a difference with the Young Living one. I feel like my mood is a little bit lighter, which for me, I like to sort of, I can feel that dip. And so I like to sort of, be able to come out of that. And so I'm glad the vitamin D kind of helps me with that. If I go out in the sun, it doesn't really do enough. They say 15 minutes of sunlight every day, but for me, it doesn't raise it enough. And I think that's true for most people. So I love our vitamin D. I love how it tastes. It's sublingual. Well, it's sublingual. They tell you to put it under your tongue for 30 seconds and then chew it and swallow it. So it's not so bad for 30 seconds. So we're going to go, Tina's going to go more in depth into the vitamin D and how that ties in, because it's also tied to minerals, calcium, and magnesium, which can affect bones and health, or bones and teeth, sorry, and it's considered a hormone. So we're going to go more in depth of how the vitamin D is considered a hormone and how that works with our hormone balance. So proper vitamin D supplementation comes in the form of D3. There are two of them. There's D2 and D3. D3 is the more important one to get those vitamin D levels up, and that it's readily available to the body in the form of D3. So it usually comes in vegan or non-vegan forms. So the non-vegan is usually from lamb's wool, and the vegan is from lichen, the lichen plant. So our version from Young Living is from lichen. So it's vegan. I like that a lot better. I've taken both, and I like the one from lichen a little bit better. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it works a little bit better. And we're also going to discuss calcium and magnesium and other minerals and cover why they're so important to our body's daily health balance. So I'm going to start the slideshow, and in a little bit, I'm going to show them how to use mineral essence. I made a mocktail today with mineral essence, and it was really good. So once you talk about that one, we're going to talk about how we can make it more palatable than it is when it comes in the dropper. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And there we go. So, oops. So there we go. So Tina, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay, so since you started with vitamin D, I'm going to jump into that one.
Okay.
I just would love to share a story with all of you, because aren't stories the best way to learn? And I think I've learned more from Gary Young through his stories than anything else, other than just watching him and listening to him and absorbing his heart. So some of you may remember this. I believe my mom was with me on this trip, and I think Kathleen Bailey might have been with me on this trip too, and maybe Connie McDonald. We were in our farm in Ecuador, and this was like I think it was our gold retreat. They used to take us to Ecuador for like our when we made gold. They would, take you on a trip, and back then you would go to our farm in Ecuador.
Platinum.
It wasn't platinum for me.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there with you though.
Okay, but okay.
You and Connie and your mom. Yeah, I remember that.
Was it Connie though?
Yeah, Connie was
Okay.
there.
So we could invite a guest. So I wasn't sure. So for me, it was making gold, because now they do platinum and diamond there. But anyway, it was very interesting because we had harvested, it's the when I got my picture in the distiller with Gary Young harvesting oregano. And he jumped in the distiller, and he just kind of looked at all of us, and then people started running, and so I jumped in and got behind him. But recently, that picture, I used to not show that picture because I was so puffy in Ecuador because I didn't have any mineral essence. And it was so hot there that I really hated the picture of me. But now I'm, it's been, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 years. The picture's looking pretty good. Okay. But recently Christy saw it and she thought it was Photoshopped because I'm sitting with Gary inside the distiller. Anyway, so he's like, I have this guy here and I really want you to hear from him. And this story that he shared, this man who was a psychiatrist, and he's a friend of Gary's and was there, and he's like, I want you to hear from him. At that time, we did not have a vitamin D supplement. And he's like, it's really important you listen to this, guys. This is really important information. So this man got up there and he shared how he took his entire psychological practice and put all of his patients, which was like maybe like 20 patients, something like that, 20 or 30 patients, and put them on what would be considered high dosage high dosages of vitamin D. And we're talking like 20,000 IUs. Okay. And many of them were on different psych meds and different types of medications for whatever mental illness they had. And he found that all of his patients, except for a couple of them, actually were able to get off most of their medicinals that they were taking, or their medicine that were taking, because the vitamin D actually helped them so much that they didn't require as much medication. And it was he was basically sharing that what you're taking, it isn't all getting absorbed. And so that's why he would just put them on these big doses. And so he was telling us to definitely take 10,000, absolutely straight out. And Gary said, look, I'm sorry, I don't have a good source of it. It's in a couple of our things accidentally, but you can buy from like Costco and get a pretty decent brand. And I just thought that was so amazing that he, was like, it wasn't like so here we are all the way in Ecuador, and he's going to share this important fact for our health. And it didn't matter where, that it didn't come from us. And it just spoke volumes to me about who he is as a person, who is in a spiritual sense, always Gary on, right? So I remember that very vividly. And I didn't know until that day that what Christy was saying is that vitamin D is actually a hormone. And it actually, like many of the talks I heard after that, I kind of paid attention to, and it had a lot of information to do with your heart. And that was very important to Gary at the time. And later, when he had passed away, we knew that we discovered that he had all these holes eaten in his heart, remember, from this virus that he had from a spider bite. So it's interesting that they were looking at him for higher levels of vitamin D. Like this doctor was actually working on Gary. And so I thought that was super interesting. So some things about vitamin D, like, oh, we have an alarm going off somewhere in my house. Can you hear that? Good grief. All right. Somebody's using the toaster oven or something. Oh, okay. So vitamin D modulates cell growth and neuromuscular health, respiratory immune function, and all the things that Christy mentioned. You can get some of it from the sun, of course, but most of us are not getting enough sun. And if you have darker skin, that actually blocks the sun from absorbing vitamin D, because it's like a natural sunscreen if you have darker skin. And it's not in a lot of food items. It would take, there's 23 units in a sardine, and you would have to eat 26 sardines to get enough vitamin D. And I don't really like sardines anyway. So the thing that we were talking about in terms of vitamin D coming from sheep's wool, I just want to like go into that a little bit because it's kind of fully disgusting. Do you guys know that like sheeps that sweat have this oil, and in that oil from their skin is the vitamin D? So this is like sheep stinky sweat. Okay. And I'm just thinking, not a great, I mean, that's the source we have, right? Or we had, or a lot of people use. And if I would have known that, I would have never taken that product. Okay. So I'm happy to share with you. Maybe that is why Gary's like, we're not going to offer that product. I'm not sure. I never heard that from him or anything, but anyway, it's super gross. And yeah, you might want to recommend the Super D from Young Living. And it is sourced from the lichen, which is from the sea. It's considered vegan. But what's different about our sourcing is that we have a certain special technology that's called ODT, which is oral disintegrative technology. And what it is, it's how that is able to be broken down and absorbed, because it's all about bioavailability. So we have this amazing vegan source, and there's this technology, and that's maybe what we were waiting on to break it down, because most people will have these sources and but maybe they're not getting absorbed. And so this is what I keep hearing, like Christy mentioned it for her own personal testimony, is this is only 200, this dose is 250% of the daily recommended amount, but it's 100% absorbed. And most of the time what you're getting is not absorbed. So you're not actually getting all the vitamin D that you're taking, which is another reason why this man was sharing, he was putting his clients or his patients on 20,000 IUs, recommending we take 10,000. Look what Christy had to do way back when. She had to take 10,000 a day to get the smaller percentage actually absorbed, which she was struggling to get. And I'm not even going to go into if you have the MTHFR gene. That's a whole other level of trying to absorb. Okay. So I love that we have this sustainable source, and it has a naturally existing mineral complex in it, which is super important. So vitamin D already is important with the relationship with the bones, but it also has that whole communication. You keep hearing about magnesium, and you hear about vitamin K, and you hear about all those things. So those exist naturally in this vegan source. And I don't know if you've tried it, but as soon as you put it under, so it's great. So it was one of my clients and friends, Diane Hoschler, that shared, like, let it absorb under your tongue right into your bloodstream. It tastes so good. It does have xylitol, which is a naturally occurring sweetener, which you can have that doesn't spike your blood sugar. And it tastes freaking fantastic. As soon as you try this, so this is a great product if you're someone who shares product like I do, that you give to somebody and they'll literally turn around and order it. They love the taste of it. Oh, I need vitamin D. A lot of people know they need to be taking vitamin D or calcium supplement or whatever, but they're like, But then when they taste this, it tastes so good that they're like, okay, I'm in right now. Yep, sold. All right, you got me at ODT. All right. So just share that product and people will jump on it. It is amazing. So it's not a synthetic source or an animal source. And it is mood balancing. So that's another whole thing. So from there, did you want to share anything about Super Cal Plus, or do you want me to jump right into Super Cal Plus? Because I'm so excited about Super Cal Plus.
Yes, you go ahead and get started on that one.
Okay. So again, bioavailability. So we had a pretty popular calcium product prior to Super Cal Plus, but Super Cal Plus absolutely has all the technology and also the sourcing. Okay. So, and this is really for everyone, but anyone who's aging, which would be everyone, or if you are postmenopausal, really be paying attention, extra, read all about it. Okay. Normally what's sold in calcium products, now I have a dog piping in, is calcium carbonate, which comes from seashells or rocks, and it's an isolate, and it is terribly absorbed. So it's basically not absorbed. And so then it's like not good for you because it's not absorbed and it's just not really getting you anywhere. So having a source of calcium that's bioavailable and from nature is ideal. And what we have from Vegan Living that's very unusual is we have this source from Iceland, and it's called red algae, and it's a sustainable sourcing, which is great. It naturally has 10% of your vitamin D, naturally another mineral complex product. So these three products have in common, well, mineral essence obviously is minerals. Then you have minerals in our naturally existing in your Super D. You have a mineral complex in your Super Cal Plus, meaning that it comes packed with all the minerals already, like fantastic. They all work together. Has 25% of your vitamin K, has magnesium. And so then this is the questions people have about, well, this is only 260 milligrams. Again, that's 100% absorbed. So you're just getting so much more, right? So bioavailability, plant source of calcium, better for you, 100% used. You're not, excreting a bunch of this, your body's actually using it. What's recommended is that you take this for 4 months and then maybe go back to your doctor, right? Give yourself about 4 months to have the results, because they have all kinds of testing they do to check all that kind of stuff. And 4 months is recommended. It takes about 4 months to totally replenish your blood supply into its new, well, cancel delete. We can do that a lot faster, right? But 4 months is just a good rule of thumb if you're doing testing. Okay, so also it's really good to take this with a little bit of food because it's a fat soluble absorption. So if you're eating a little bit with it, that's good. And also if you can, I'm someone who really targets taking my supplements at pretty much at one time so that it's just easier, like it's done. And then there's a couple things I'll do before bed. There's a couple things I'll do like first thing in the morning, but for the most part, I take my supplements pretty much at one time away from your coffee. Does anybody know why you don't want to take your supplements away from your coffee? Or you want to take your supplements away from your coffee?
I believe, this is Deborah, I believe that because it cancels out everything you're taking.
Mhm.
It absolutely does. And it also specifically the caffeine will cancel it out and not allow it to be absorbed. So it's kind of like, so if you're doing coffee, like people can kind of get ridiculous, like wait, 4 hours. Well, just wait a little time, at least before you do that. So thank you. Great answer there, Deborah. Okay, so to talk a little bit about bones and how they work, and so you can understand the nature of what our goals are with calcium, is you first.
Hey,
Can you hear
Tina,
me?
can I cover one thing first?
Yeah.
So you talked about bioavailability in the Super Cal Plus and in the Super D.
Yeah.
So that's something that is a subject that's really important to me because I've spent, like probably most of us, I know you, spent since my teenage years finding supplements and having a lot of them not work. And yes, I have MTHFR, but I think also the bioavailability is a viable subject because when something's not available to absorb, it's just going to go right through your body. So there's no point in taking it. There's no point in wasting your money on it if it's not going to work. So I just wanted to cover bioavailability as far as Young Living supplements go. There's a huge difference between Young Living supplements and store-bought supplements. Young Living supplements have an 80% absorption rate compared to conventional supplements, which only have a 30%. That's a 50% increase. This tells me you get way more bang for your buck with supplements that will be much more effective from Young Living. So I actually, when I take them, I can feel more of a difference, which I know bioavailability is a very important subject when we're talking about getting the most out of what we're buying. So the difference in these supplements is their bioavailability and essential oil content, which you've covered before in this class and in other classes as well. Those essential oils together also allow for the bioavailability to work. So Gary Young was the first to formulate nutritional supplements with essential oils, which I didn't know until today. Essential oils infused into a supplement make the nutrients and vitamins more available to the body, and this means the body can absorb them and use them as nutrients. So essential oils help increase the assimilation or absorption of other nutrients on a cellular level, and they help remove waste from the cells, which helps detoxify them, in turn causing the cells to function at a higher level. So the bottom line is you should 100% be taking Young Living supplements over store-bought. I've pretty much switched everything over to Young Living. And I feel like for me, just making that switch, I already took calcium. So I just, next time I needed some, I just bought the Super Cal Plus. Like I already took vitamin D. Next time I needed one, I just bought the one from Young Living. And I actually feel like I'm saving money because I'm not like buying. I'm actually feel like supplementation is supposed to be, in theory, something short, right? You're supposed to supplement what your body's lacking for a short amount of time, not consistently be on the same thing year after year. So when we need more calcium, like you were saying, 4 months, like use, 4 to 6 months, take a supplement and then, evaluate and see if you even need that one or if you need to switch to another one. And theoretically, you should not need tons of supplements all the time, maybe enzymes and probiotics, but not, a whole bunch of supplements, and you should be able to sustain for the most part. And you had said one time a while ago that I think it was P8020 or Endogise, something like that. Some of those you said you actually switch as you go along. So you might take one for a few months and then you take a different one, and then depending on what your body needs. And so I think that's important to note too with these supplements, because they're so effective. You don't necessarily need them, all the time.
Yeah, I love that. The bioavailability is everything. And we should be taking in through our food supply and supplementation calcium. And I know with me, like we know, like for instance, Ningxia Red has the same amount of calcium power as like a tub of cottage cheese.
Mhm.
So some of our other supplements actually give us calcium, but this one is a super high technology. And I would say postmenopausal, this would be in my every other day, at least kind of routine. But if you were eating kale, if you're eating broccoli, those are great sources of calcium too, and bioavailable, like fresh is fresh, organic, of course. So sometimes I'll look at kind of what I'm taking, or if you're taking like master formula, or if you're taking, some of that stuff, you're getting some of it here. Notice that even there's vitamin D in our calcium. So in our calcium supplement. So, you know what I'm saying? So there is that flexibility, and you can work with someone who's familiar with the In Living product line, like Christy or Kathy Bailey, or any of the people here, Deborah Blackburn, because they're familiar with the products, and they can be like, look, in your budget, and maybe if you're postmenopausal, this becomes a higher priority too, but I'm going to get into that. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, everybody who's growing bones, which bones are basically always replenishing themselves. And so we're always growing bone, but especially when we're actually growing, this is important. So there's these two things. There's the osteoclast and the osteoblast, right? And they're actually both important. And when they're in balance, and as you're younger, this is usually better in balance. They work synergistically. And if you ever saw like a tree and the rings that, like every year there's like a new ring for the tree, it's kind of like that when you look at a slice of bone, and in there are these little osteoclasts and osteoblasts, and there's actually a communication network between them, almost like a cellular communication network. And what they have found is as we get older, this can get out of balance. And oftentimes this osteoclast gets going like crazy, and there isn't enough osteoblast. And the osteoclast has enzymes, and what it does is it pits the bone and it breaks down so that the blasts can actually get into the bone, which is kind of like our calcium supplements, like our minerals that we're looking for in our blood supply that get into the bones and work with the osteoclasts to rebuild our bone. But if that's out of balance, then the osteoclasts are pitting. And then if there's no blasts there, then it starts pulling the calcium out of the bone. So that's where the brittle bone comes from. Isn't that crazy? So it's really about, isn't it always when we really get into the science of things, like this balancing act that we have in our bodies? So that's what we're working on, especially if you're postmenopausal. We're working on getting more blast in there to support the clast. And if you're someone who's a heavy coffee drinker, this is what coffee does. It zaps all the calcium and minerals out of your bones. Same with soda, right? I definitely fought a soda addiction from my youth, and that was one of the craziest things to give up. It took me a very long time. I had to go to one a day, and then I had to go to one a week for like 2-3 years. And then, it was so crazy. And if I dare to do that, I literally throw my body into like the biggest tizzy if I even touch a soda. It's so crazy. But anyway, so sodas, coffee, all those kinds of things. Hey, Deborah, hi. So there is something in the bone matrix that actually, and the osteoblast, that actually mimics estrogen. And as we lose our levels of estrogen, I hate to even speak that, but as estrogen levels go down, that building mechanism, those blasts kind of decrease. So another thing that we have in our Super Cal Plus that's very unusual is we have the the fermented polysaccharides and or which are the black yeast. So the black yeast does this bone remodeling. So it's constantly helping the blasts rebuild with the osteoclasts. So not to say that, you know, that it isn't fabulous to have, you know, lots of kale. And, you know, by the way, there's some really cool recipes with kale that make kale like taste fabulous. So if you don't know about those, we should be sharing with each other our recipes for kale, because it's a fabulous source of calcium and a lot of other great nutrients. I'm trying to look at my first page. In the blender, yep.
Kale, lettuce. The kids are like, "Ugh," but it's so good. It's like kale, lettuce, and some frozen fruit and some water.
Throw that in there with the chocolate protein. You don't even taste it. I like to throw blueberries in with my chocolate. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, that's what I do. So, so anyway, isn't that cool that we have this amazing source of calcium that comes from the red algae we have, which is sustainable. And then we have this fermented black yeast that does the bone remodeling. That's the higher technology again. It has vitamin D and vitamin K and magnesium also built into that matrix of minerals. So these two products, vitamin D and Super Cal Plus, are mineral complex products. This is very rare in the industry that they already exist in a complex. So you're just getting a lot of bang for your buck. Christy was already sharing about that. So not only that, Christy's going to score the stress away when she throws this in her monthly order. I don't know what the price point is on that, but because I haven't put my order in yet. That's the only reason why I don't know that. But be doing that soon, because did you guys hear that wintergreen's in stock?
Yes, I already bought some. Get your wintergreen. It's $19.
Wow. Yeah, that's going down
Awesome.
today.
Love it.
I
Done.
missed that one.
You guys know that wintergreen is really great for the bones discomfort, and it's in our Panaway blend, which is also amazing for bones. So, you know, your teeth and gums and just discomfort in bone tissue, that kind of thing.
Wintergreen has methyl salicylate in it, which is the natural painkiller that's found in cortisone.
It is
But it's in a
actually
natural. It's
It
in a
is
natural state.
actually methyl salicylate. It is
Yeah.
the natural form of it. And
Exactly.
they make a synthetic form that is aspirin.
Mm.
Right.
So there's a warning about, you know, the caps are on there about, you know, maybe not ingesting too much of it. But honestly, there in 30 years, there's never been a case of, I mean, what are you going to do? Drink a gallon of wintergreen? Like,
Yeah, really.
never actually happened, but I will
Yeah.
have pharmacists get in my class and tell me, now you don't have to be concerned about blood thinning. Okay, because you're going to drink a gallon of wintergreen. Like, how are you going to get it? Like, I don't even know. Anyway, it's kind of
caffeine.
ridiculous.
Can you believe I've never had a raindrop with wintergreen because we haven't had it in so long?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh, we got it now.
I got a raindrop with wintergreen.
A real raindrop is going down.
I know. I just ordered some because I ran out of my raindrops.
No, you did have wintergreen because wintergreen's in aroma seeds, but you had a very small
Well,
amount.
yeah, but
I need
yeah.
it. I need to like dump it on. I need to
Right?
know what it feels.
It
I
smells
got
like
2
root beer. I love
bottles.
it. Love it.
My mom told me, listen to her. She's like, I got my bottles.
Mom's got it. Yeah. Mama Kay's got it all.
Mama Kay and Gia. Gia's collection's quite mighty.
Ah,
Quite mighty. You might want to go visit her. She's my new best friend. I love it when people go, what do you want me to bring to my session? I'm like, oh, let's bring this and that and this and that. We'll just dump all these oils on you. It's fabulous.
Just because I'm your best friend.
I'm just,
Oh
I'm
my.
teasing. I'm teasing.
I
You
know
have an
you.
amazing collection. I don't quite know how you've done that, but it's amazing. Okay, so I don't know. Do you want me to go over, does anybody have any questions? Oh wait, there's chat going on that I haven't looked at. Here we go. Oh, there might be questions here. Kale. Yeah, we got the kale. My kale's my favorite green. Okay.
I was typing and listening at the same time. I got a little.
Okay, did I miss any questions in here at all? Anybody?
I don't think so. Do you want to continue on to mineral essence? Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about mineral
Okay,
essence?
I got a little bit on that.
I'll make a little
So
sale.
I'll let you do the recipe though.
You know, Chris, may I add something? You had said something about soda, which I knew that it did destroy the bones. a few years ago, I was drinking periodically Pellegrino and adding like Ningxia Red to it, making it like a mocktail and an essential oil like lime or orange or whatever. Well, I found out from Terry Alberto that she said even mineral water can destroy the bones. Even mineral water. So anything that's carbonated, even natural carbonation can also destroy the bones. Now, of course, I wasn't overindulging in it, but it really surprised me where I took a look at that and thought, okay, I will still do it periodically.
Right, as a treat.
But as a treat, but I didn't even realize, I thought that was nurturing me. So,
Oh, well, me too. I had one tonight.
Yeah,
Pellegrino.
I've heard that they can dehydrate you because they don't really hydrate you.
Mhm.
So people think because they're drinking that, and I love the bubble water because I don't know, just keeps me.
well, I just figured it was
happy.
Pellegrino that has minerals in it, like
Right,
like
exactly.
the real minerals in it comes from the mineral spring.
Right, you would think.
So that's what I figured. I'm like, okay, I don't do sodas. I haven't done sodas since I was like 20. But the thing is, I'm like, every once in a while, especially summertime, it's kind of a, I don't know. But when I found that, I'm going, oh boy, now I got to look at that too. So I just wanted to add that. I didn't want to disappoint anybody or make them feel sad, but I was so surprised when I found that out a couple years ago. I was like, So anyway.
No, I'm like, I have a soda stream.
You're right. You do have a soda stream, dang it.
Make my own.
Kathleen Bailey, you have your hand up,
I do?
I think.
No. Oh,
That is-
is that what that is? What is it? No.
Oh, wait, that
Are
was
you looking
me.
at that?
That was me. That was my cursor that turns into a
Oh.
hand on your face.
That's not me.
We're so special around here. I'm special anyway. Okay. All right. So back to mineral essence. So I know that a couple of times. So another story when Mom and I were in Ecuador, and Gary Young's like, hey, do you guys want to come check out the Palo Santo forest? And we're like, heck yeah. And he's like, it's just over here. Yeah, over here was like 5 miles. Okay. And it was like 90-degree, 90% humidity. I don't know. So there's these, I think I might have mentioned this before, but there was these older people that were just trucking on right past me, you know, and we're like, what are you taking? And they're like, mineral essence. And I'm like, I think I need to get me some of that, you know? And so one of the things when I did my 90-day wellness program, and we were talking a lot about these mineral complex products and stuff like that. I was like, wow, I feel so much better. I'm definitely going to add the minerals in. And I'm someone personally that I'm just warm all the time. I swear that because I'm warm all the time, like my body temperature, I think I lose more minerals than most people. And I know Kathleen Bailey's witnessed this. I end up having a lot of muscle cramping and stuff like that. And since I've been doing the mineral essence and rotating my Super D and Super Cal Plus in an affordable scenario, along with Ningxia Red and all the other things I do, I've noticed that I don't suffer from that. And I'm telling you, I mean, Kathleen Bailey can share with you, when I go into like a spasm situation, it's like the muscles are being ripped off my bones. It is the most horrific experience. And I notice it more in the summer when I'm hot, and I think I just perspire extra minerals out of my body. So between mineral essence and our trace mineral drops, I am such a happy camper, because what I would do in the past is I would, of course, grab my oils and throw them on my muscles, right? And eventually, like 15 minutes later, I would finally be relieved of these terrible cramps that I would get. So now that I'm regularly supplementing, alternating between mineral essence and Super Cal Plus and D, and like getting minerals more. And then my drops, I'm really into those drops. On my regular order, I'm putting those.
You're talking the vitality drops?
Thank you. The vitality drops are like all the time. And this product lasts me, I don't know if it lasts you guys, it lasts me like 3 months, so You know, I just use a dropper and shake it up and all that stuff. So I just like it because it has a lot of trace minerals, has lemon, so it has essential oils, lemon, cinnamon bark, magnesium's in it. And it does have 10 grams of sodium, but that's not very much. You do keep it in the fridge. You should shake it up before you use it or like roll it. It does have, it's not vegan because it does have royal bee jelly. So that's the sweetener in it. And yeah, that's pretty much, I'll let Christy share a little bit more about it, about her little recipe.
Okay, hang on a second.
She's getting it for us.
I forgot I don't have a clean cup, so you know. In my cup for one day, it's a little cloudy, but whatever.
Okay.
It works. Okay, so you can use ice. I don't love ice, it's not my thing, but the kids love it. So they'll just put a little ice in the bottom and then they'll put the mineral essence on top. Sorry, I said that wrong. They put ice in and they put this on top. They put the Vitality drops and then they pour their Ningxia and then they pour their Zing, which I don't have any more Zing. Otherwise I'd show you that one. But this one, I mean, who measures anymore? So I just do that. And then I'll do, you know, sometimes when I'm feeling like I need more minerals, I'll do like 5 dropperfuls, but you really only need, like Tina said, like 1 or 2. And then I'll put, so I dump that. I like to put the mineral essence over something. I don't like to put the mineral essence just in the glass first because it'll cool in the bottom and then it'll just be nasty. So then I put the Vitality squirt in there and then I just use water to fill it up the rest of the way. And for me, I don't really taste the mineral essence this way. I feel like it's hidden in there. And then it's over there, but it's a drop of lime. So I'll finish it up with a drop of lime. So I don't taste that very much. I will put this in my mouth directly if I have to. It's gross.
It is gross.
But yeah. But it's mainly like, you know what I taste in there is
If you're
that
having cramps, get it under your tongue right away. You won't care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. And then I know I used to get cramps growing up, like leg cramps really bad. They call them growing pains. But I personally wonder if that's a mineral calcium deficiency. I mean, my kids growing so fast, I kind of wonder if it's, you know, they need a little bit extra minerals. So when my kids have leg cramps, I will give them this. And my daughter did say it helped her last time I did that. Even though she was gagging in the kitchen, she still did it for me. And then later she was like, oh yeah, it did work. They did go away. So I don't know if it's, Tina could probably answer this. I don't know if that's muscular or if that's bones. I'm not really sure what that helped, but it helped.
Cool.
Yeah, I think if she noticed that it's helping her, trust your intuition. I gotta say, like, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I'll think somebody will be sharing something and they're like, oh, they should probably try this. I bet that would help them. You know, there's like an intuition about it. And we don't always know why, but I would listen to that because that was your instinct. And think about it. They're definitely going through a lot of minerals growing their bodies, you know, so I'm sure it did help them. I know that a lot of people would take those drops from the mineral essence and put them in double aught capsules and take them that way. So if you didn't want to take those drops and put them like in a blended drink, or you didn't have all 5 of those products and you just want to get it in your body and you didn't want to taste it, you could put it in, you know, a gel cap that you can get at the health food store, and Living has them, you know, they're everywhere, but that's another way to do that. But
And it's not really that bad.
it really isn't actually that bad.
Once you get it down, it's okay.
Isn't it better than it used to be, or am I just
chase it
wiser?
with something? Yeah, it is better.
Yeah.
I swear it's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
I had that thing.
Or we're just getting used to it.
Just getting used to it.
Yeah.
It's better. It tastes a lot better. And if you put a little water in, it's fine.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
like, Christy, I like that you're sipping that, you know, taking a big glass and you just kind of sip on it for a while and take a little bit at a time. Gary used to tell us that all the time. He says, I just take a big glass of Ningxia Red and add a bunch of water to it and drink on it all day long. And that's, you know, just keeps replenishing in your system rather than just giving it a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
and the recipe that I saw, they were suggesting to put the vitality drops and the mineral drops on an ice cube so it slowly diffuses into the water.
Mhm.
Also, you can put your lime oil in the bottom of your glass so that it kind of diffuses into your water that way. But we're so die hard. We're like, I mean, live hard. So yeah.
Got
So
that.
we
Thank you.
we love it. We love it. We love all of it. So, you know, we went from like the red drink to the crystal red drink with the nitro and I mean, it gets kind of crazy, but you know what? In my house, there is rarely another drink available, you know? So I just take all my dollars and I spend them on the good drinks. I have someone here at the house that came over, to see Ryan for dinner. And then I came in to teach his class and I served him a red drink, which was Ningxia. I didn't put the mineral essence in there, but the lime oil, the sulfurzyme, and the Ningxia. And because that's what I have to drink in my house. And so he goes, well, I was looking at Ningxia red and that's expensive, you know? And I'm like, well, how much you pay for wheatgrass? You know, he's a pretty healthy guy. And I said, that's, you know, way more expensive than $1.25 an ounce, you know? And you know, he's like, you're right. I never really thought about it that way. I'm like, yeah. So like, people don't realize, like, especially now, how expensive like all the drinks are.
Mhm.
I love kombucha, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's $3, $4, $5, $6 a bottle, you know? And I'm like, I'll take my Ningxia red, all right? My superfood juice that is, you know, full of naturally existing every amazing supplement out there. So yeah, so I love that.
We're juice people. And so we drink a lot of juice, apple juice and orange juice and stuff. And when we started buying the Ningxia, we were at the store and my husband said, don't buy juice. We'll put our money towards Ningxia. And I was like, who are you? What are you doing? And he was right. Like, it made it more affordable because we cut out the stuff we really didn't need that wasn't really doing a ton for us and got something that is so full of stuff. Like, literally, if this is the only thing you did, you're still saving yourself.
It's the number one product if I'm, you know, on a budget that I will recommend, because it does have calcium, because
Yeah.
it does have, it's a superfood. It does work on all the body systems. It works to balance all the body systems. So yeah, that's, you know, usually I can get that product and maybe one other product. And if it's either digestion or hormones typically that they're talking to me about. So one of either or those products with Ningxia is usually like my number one recommendation for people that are going into any supplements at all. Like, start with Ningxia, you know, because you'll get such great results. You'll have energy. It cleans your body. It supports you so much. And then all of this stuff is like additional.
It literally is so much stuff. Yeah. I feel
Icing
like,
on the cake.
yeah, for sure. And then you build upon that. That's a good recommendation.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, does anybody else have anything to share? Mom, do you have anything to share? Oh, you do, Christy. Yeah.
Well, I was going to go over the June freebies because I'm excited about these. So Stress Away is, like I said earlier, one of the freebies. And I actually use this one in my hair, but not to make a diffuser out of my hair. I actually use it on the top for flyaways. And because it is a blend with it has a little bit of, I think, coconut or something in it. So I just use it here. So I'm getting the crown of my head, I'm getting my flyaways. And then of course I put it everywhere. So I am like a walking, you know, stress away diffuser. But that one comes with lime, vanilla, copaiba, lavender. Copaiba, when applied topically, it's good for tired muscles. Lavender, which is peaceful, calming scent. And the lavender, as we all know, comes from our Utah farm, which I'm really excited because I get to go there in a couple of weeks. So I get to see it for the first time with my own eyes, not just from pictures. And then there's Cedar Wood in this one. I love Cedar Wood. It's actually one of my favorites. $11, I think, for 15 mils. So, and it does so many different things. So for this one, it's comforting and calming with the Stress Away. And then we get the Kid Sense Owie, which is Idaho Grand Fir, tea tree, and lemmy. Good for dry and sensitive skin, comforting, reassuring, soothing, has an aroma that's calming in times of distress, and it features oils that support the healthy appearance of skin. So you can apply, I thought Owie was for stomachs. I thought it was like, I don't know, like Digize maybe for kids, but I didn't realize until I looked into it, you can use it for that. You can put it on the tummy area, or you can put it on actual like skin irritations and things like that. You can apply it to the back of the neck during times of stress. So it does have a calming nature to it. And then Citronella, which is actually, my daughter got her Citronella from Kathleen Bailey. And that was the one, it was so funny, it was at the holiday party, and that was the one she picked for us, was the Citronella. And I was like, really? Are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I really like this one. And she loves it. She has it by her bed still, and she keeps that one. But that one, of course, we all know Citronella, you can use it, you know, to fend off outdoor bugs and nuisances. So I would mix that one maybe in a little lotion and put it on before you go outside. You could diffuse it outside, I suppose, but maybe if you were in a smaller space. And then you can use it in your Thieves House Cold Cleaning Spray. So you can just stick it in there for deeper cleaning power and nice aroma. And then there's Citrus Fresh. We all like Citrus Fresh. It's one of Jason's favorites. It's orange, grapefruit, mandarin, tangerine, lemon, and spearmint. So it's a bunch of citrus mixed with spearmint, which I love. And that one is great internally and externally. It cleans the air, uplifting and refreshing aroma. Sometimes I'll put that in my Thieves cleaner. It has antioxidants and cleansing properties when taken internally. So what Young Living has suggested is put it in the capsules. So Young Living does sell the capsules. I do use them, and they're fantastic. So anytime you want to take one of the oils internally, put it in there with a little few drops of like olive oil or something to disperse it. And you can add it to your Ningxia mocktail. There's so many ways to use Ningxia. I feel like we should, you know, towards the end of the, we should just cover all of them. There's like holiday, there's, you know, summer recipes, like there's so much you can put in them. And then, so, oh shoot, I should have grabbed it out of the car. So it's the Via Car Diffuser. That one comes when you spend 300 PV, and that one's really cool. I try to keep, unless someone drinks it, I try to keep a little bottle of like water in the car, like a little, you know, Dasani bottle or whatever of water. And then I just fill it up, and then I'll put whatever oils I have in the car. And then you just plug it in. You just plug it into the lighter thing. And now it's not called that, but I just dated myself. Now it's called what, a USB thing. So you just plug that in. It has a cute little light and all that. And it does work really well. It puts out a nice aroma that fills the car. I have 3 kids, and there's lots of food that passes through that car and lots of smelly feet. So the diffuser works really well in the car. So I personally love that one. And then we just talked about vitamin D, and vitamin D is free this month. So we get our vitamin D. So if you haven't tried it, you get it free with a $400 order, or 400 PV order. And so if you haven't tried it, it comes. So that one's, as we talked about, respiratory, immune, bone, and hormone. It's vegan friendly. And of course it has oils in it. And then, so one thing I haven't tried yet is the Lavaderm after sun spray, which is great for sunburn, but it's also really good for regular irritations. So burns or sunburns or itching or cuts or insect bites.
It's very soothing and comforting. And let's just say when your skin's red and irritated, it's really just gentle and nice, and it kind of coats your skin a little bit. So it's a little thicker. I love both the Lavaderm spray and this one, the After Sun's Care. I like having them in my medicine cabinet because that truly is the best medicine.
Are you talking about Clariderm?
No, there's Lavaderm spray, and then there's After Sun. This is After Sun, isn't it?
It's After Sun, yeah.
Yeah. So both of those, and there's also Clariderm. Now Clariderm is got all the heavy hitter essential oils for your skin. Yeah. So it's in a liquid, and that's great bang for your buck. That will last you forever because it's an oil base like
Mhm.
carrier oil base with, you know, with, what's it called? The sandalwood oil, frankincense. I mean, just all the heavy hitters. I've had people who can't wear,
Clary sage, yeah, everything.
yeah, everything,
Really
everything
good.
medicinal for your skin. And so, some people who don't, it's weird. Some people who don't wear a lot of, like lotions on their skin, they'll like the Clariderm. And I learned about the Clariderm when I studied facial rejuvenation with the acupuncturist, and we did use that as the sliding mechanism, you know, so that would go on the skin. And people are like, I love this, is the only thing I can put on my skin. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I love that. It's also used for stretching the perineum before birth and healing the perineum after birth. It's huge for that. Like literally the best testimonials I've ever heard from women regarding that aspect of it. So if you have someone who's pregnant or that's a great gift idea, because there isn't a lot for that support, you know, and this is perfect for that. So yeah, plus then you will have a medicinal spray you can use on your skin at any time. So sorry, I had to pipe in with all those other derms.
No, I love the Clariderm is honestly one of my favorite. And so I was wondering if it was like the Lavaderm, because even my daughter likes the Clariderm. She'll be like, Mommy, I'm like, it's late. You need to go to bed. She's like, but I have to put on my lotions, and she'll go get Clariderm and she'll put it on her skin because it literally can be used for everything. And you're right, it's really slippery. So if I use my gua sha, I'll put that on before I use my gua sha stone and massage and all that. So I love it. And it smells amazing too. It's one of my favorites.
And Lavaderm's going to be a light mist, like a
Yeah.
water-based light mist with lavender, which is its own whole world of amazement. And that product has a testimonial, how do I say? Let's just say where supports the skin's repair. And we've had stories where nurses have shared that like their son ripped their skin off on a motorcycle accident and supported their healing with supported their skin health with Lavaderm. And it was like amazing. And I remember posting, there's a scientific study regarding lavender and skin growth. We'll put it that way.
Abnormal skin growths.
Yeah, it supports the healthy version. So, but it's a light mist. Like if you want something light that's like soothing to your skin, you go with Lavaderm. If you want like kind of a heavier medicinal with every essential oil for your skin, I would go Clariderm. If you want something to repair, like after you've been out in the sun, I would go with the sun. But you could use any of them for all of those things, really. So yeah.
Well, that's
We
all.
just one of each, please. Yeah.
Well, see, I have to have everything from Young Living.
Why the points come in handy, right? Because you're like, okay, that's out of my budget, but I have these points here. I'm going to order that and have it. It literally sits in your medicine cabinet and you use it for a long time. It's not something you're using so frequently, you know?
Yeah, I've had the Clariderm, I think, for 6 months, and I mean, I use it. My daughter uses it, so it's not just one person using it. It goes a long way. I feel like I just use half a pump, gets my whole face. It goes a long way. So, all right. So, does anybody have any questions? Because I'm done talking.
Yeah. Any other questions from any or any other shares from anybody?
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think we did it.
Well, thank you everybody for coming to our class. I had a great.
Well, hopefully you guys learned something you didn't know, and we certainly learn from you every time. So thank you so much. We're so excited about convention coming up.
Yes, we'll have a lot of things to talk.
Yeah, last call. It's 2
Yeah.
weeks away. We're getting excited. I'm trying to think of a way to get everybody up to Tabiona. I haven't quite figured that out.
I want to go up there this time.
Yeah, we're gonna go for
Very
sure,
excited.
but I don't know if it's open. I've been looking at the calendar. Marcella said it was open. She thinks it's open, and I have several calls into them to see if we can't arrange something. I'll let you know. I'll be sending an email out, by the way, for those of you who are planning to be there today or tomorrow or the next day. So look forward to your
Hey,
email.
and Siri, if you want to jump on board to the convention, let me know. We'll just take you on over there. Okay.
Okay, y'all. I just wanted to mention something. tomorrow's my follow-up from my melanoma surgery on my foot. And I would really appreciate a lot of prayers.
Absolutely.
My whole worry had been, and I hadn't expressed it to you all. I almost called you, Kathleen, that I get the green